Military during the years 1941 to 1945, there were 405,399 deaths and over 670,000 who were injured. The World War II death rate among the military members was 2.5%, and the injury casualty rate was over 4% of those who served. And I want to compare that to today. To show you the global war on terrorism numbers, we have had over 9,000 deaths, and that includes the nearly 3,000 who died in the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon on 9/11. And 48,000 have been injured. The death rate is 0.002%. That decimal place shifted 3 places. Now, I'm not a math expert, but I know that represents about 1,000th of the casualty rate experienced in World War II. Even one American lost over there is way too many. But that number, to me, is remarkable and speaks a great deal to the technology that we can employ today to wage the fight. And that technology is actually part of your legacy from World War II. The research and development of your generation carried forward to today. What's getting us in Afghanistan and Iraq today are improvised explosive devices. There were 499 deaths in Afghanistan last year, and 363 of those were due to IEDs rather than direct fire. Now, I said earlier, when I was talking about Tom Brokaw's book, he indicated that some 40% of the gross domestic product was dedicated to the war effort during World War II. And this chart shows the defense budget during that time. And you see that the defense budget spiked up from around 4% prior to the war to almost 40% during the war. We spent a great deal there. And you see another rise for the Korean War and another for the Vietnamese War. But then our budget tapers down again. After the fall of the Soviet Union, we declared ourselves a peace dividend to around 4% or so of the gross domestic product. Now, what's been occurring over the last few years since the global war on terrorism began was our budget for the military has steadily been increasing. Now, the green just shows the normal appropriated amount for the Department of Defense. Has not really changed a lot. But the blue and the red bars combined together begin to show you what the war in Iraq and Afghanistan has cost us. And the defense budget is actually double what we normally appropriate for it because of this war. It's an extremely large amount of money, upwards of $700 billion per year. Now, I did some math there in my own head. I figured out that represents about $1.7 trillion that this war has cost us. That's a lot of money. That's more money than even my wife can imagine, let me tell you. Now, I want to just sort of draw a conclusion here. The red bars on this chart represent the Department of Defense budget since 2003 that include those additional expenses to wage this war. The little brown or gold colored bars hovering around down at the bottom represent our foreign aid budget and the Department of State budget combined together. It's a tiny amount compared to what it costs us to wage war, in the vicinity of 10% of what it costs to wage war. Earlier, I indicated that in 1989, we made a mistake. With the fall of the Soviet Union, we began to declare ourselves a peace dividend. We began to turn our attention inward, back home, taking almost an isolationist view as far as that part of the world went. We did not go into Afghanistan after the Soviets left with our money to help them set up a country that could actually function We helped them ditch the Soviets, but we failed them right there. And I think that's why we're here today. I honestly believe that we have spent that $1.7 trillion because we didn't want to spend a few billion in 1990. Here's my conclusion that I want to leave you with. There is hope for Afghanistan. It's very expensive. Progress is being made against the non-state actors that wage those attacks against us. But Pakistan looms large on our horizon. Pakistan is just across the border. It's a country of 168 million people, a similar population mix of 95% Muslim, about 80-20 Shiite and Sunni. The life expectancy in that country is 66 years, half again what it is in Afghanistan. They also have high unemployment and high poverty. But Pakistan has the 8th largest standing military in the world. And Pakistan has nuclear weapons. And Pakistan didn't even know Osama bin Laden was there. Really? Pakistan is something to worry about. Today, fewer Americans are invested in defense. There has been no large mobilization of our civilian population to fight this war. We've done it all with volunteers, all with those who serve in the regular component and the reserve component. And the reserve component has been fully engaged. This war has cost us 10 times more than it would have cost us to wage peace. And I just have to think about that. What if? It's easy to be an armchair quarterback and sit back and say, what if we'd have done that? But if we had had a well-defined foreign policy plan to work with that part of the world, we might not be there today with the full measure that we are. Some hard things to think about there. We've got a lot of work to do. It's going to cost us a lot more money to get out of that place. But I hope we're able to do so. Thank you for your attention today. I got to say, it is my honor, my distinct privilege to be invited to speak to you today. And I hope I've made some friends here. Before the lunch today, I went around and introduced myself to most of you. And I'll tell you, I just enjoy spending time with you and hearing about what you did. If you haven't told your stories, Dr. Taylor said, please do so. Leave those words and experiences for us to hear, because we can learn from them very much. Thank you so much.